I'm the media contact for the Islamic Leadership Council. My number is 917-608-7637. 917-608-7637. So you can call me 24 hours, 7 days a week. You are most welcome. So it is a great pleasure to introduce our president, who is going to make the opening statement. This press conference is in the context of a week of dialogue, what was decided by our National Islamic Leaders Summit on September 19. And after that we had a big press conference in Manhattan on September 20th. So this is the first time we are having the nationwide mosque opening week. Before that we used to do it on the city level, and different mosques used to do it, but this is the first time we are doing nationwide. So there are hundreds of mosques doing it this week of dialogue nationwide. So out of that, about 20 mosques in New York, they are doing this open houses during this week, which was started since yesterday. So without delay, I welcome our president of the Majlis As-Shura. His name is Imam Al-Amin Abdul Latif. The first name is Al-Amin, A-L-A-M-I-N. The middle name is Abdul, A-B-D-U-L. And the last name is Latif, L-A-T-I-F. So I welcome our president, Imam Al-Latif.
Thank you, Brother Zahir Dean. Again, we welcome the press for coming out today. And basically, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful. The purpose of our week-long dialogue and open house is to educate the public about Islam and the Muslims. That is our purpose. We feel very strongly that this will help thwart and stymie the hatred against Islam and Muslims being spread by anti-Islamic extremists and bigots. And so that is the basic purpose. As Zahir Dean has already mentioned, we started yesterday. There are a number of events citywide and nationwide. Between interfaith dialogue as well as educational forums. And so for the entire week, we intend to have a number of activities and programs in various masajids and Islamic centers throughout the city and throughout the country. California, Chicago, Philadelphia, and many others. So again, this is a nationwide effort, because you know we met September 19th and we decided to organize ourselves and go on begin a proactive agenda, to educate the public, and to increase their understanding and to remove any misconcepts that people have about Islam and Muslims. And by opening up our masajid and Islamic centers, allowing the public to come in and to be with us, to talk, to get your questions answered from us, not from the media or not from the hate mongers, not from those who would distort Islam, but come to get it right from us who are in the masjid. So basically that is our position, and that's what the purpose of this week-long dialogue and open house. And in fact, it is just the beginning of a number of other educational forums that we will aggressively begin to do to educate the Muslims and to educate the non-Muslims and our fellow citizens and the public, God willing. So with that, basically, if there's any questions, feel free, and I will answer them as well as my other colleagues that are here today.
Was this because of Part 51, or you've been doing this all along? What prompted?
Well, basically, we've been doing it all along. We've had a number of programs. In fact, this particular masjid itself does an open house on a regular basis, and Imam Sarad can come and speak to that himself. And so we've been doing this on a regular basis. So it's just that we decided to do it nationwide, to make it, so we can focus and get more people involved in it because, again, we need to educate. You know, in other words, the media is doing saying some things about Islam that's not correct, all right? And so therefore we have to do our job. We have to take our responsibility and correct those things. And because we don't control the media, so we have to open up our mosques more and encourage the Muslim community across the nation to do this. A lot of the hatred, a lot of the anti-Islam or the race, the ethnic, the religious bigotry due to ignorance. People just don't know, okay? When we find that when we begin to talk to people and, you know, and share what Islam is about, you'll be surprised. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, thank you for that, you see? And so the attitude changes, you see? And so we have to have an aggressive agenda doing that. Yeah.
Can you name like 1, 2, or 3 common misconceptions or common lies, if you will, that you hear all the time that you want to correct? Can you just
Imams? Sure.
maybe just like 3 of them?
Can we share? Sure. Imams. Okay.
And what is your name, please?
This is Imam Talib, T-A-L-I-B, Abdur Rashid, A-B-D-U-R hyphen R-A-S-H-I-D. Imam, of course, I-M-A-M. I'm the second vice president of the Majlis As-Shura, Islamic Leadership Council of New York. And as our president and Amir Alameen mentioned, yeah, there are a lot of misconceptions. And we'll give you 3 at your request on the list of top 25 misconceptions. The first one, of course, you know, being that Islam is a religion of terrorism, that Islam is a religion that sponsors terrorism based on teachings of the Quran and the example of the Prophet, number 1. Number 2 would be, or could be, that Islam is a kind of new alien religion in America. If I may, Imam mentioned misconceptions. For instance, 2 weeks ago, there was a television special on major media outlet, ABC News, that advertised itself as being structured to eliminate misconceptions about Islam and Muslims. This was the stated purpose of it. There was 90 minutes worth of programming and not a single African-American Muslim face in 90 minutes worth of programming. Yet, African-Americans constitute 1/3 of the Muslim population of the United States. So that certainly didn't help in terms of, you know, misconceptions that people have that this is an Arab religion, it's you know, as opposed to a global faith and that type of thing. And perhaps thirdly on that list might be that Muslims themselves condone bigotry and terrorism and anti-American sentiment. You know, these are 3 amongst many misconceptions that people have, and all 3 of them are just simply false.
Let me add one. Yeah.
If you could just give us your name, please.
My name is Easy. I'm right on that list there, Imam Siraj Waj. I'm the Imam of this masjid. Again, I want to thank the media for coming. One of the things that we'll talk about, we have an open house here this Sunday. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is the tremendous similarity between the Muslims, the Christians, and the Jews especially. Because in our book, the Quran, Christians and Jews are called people of the book. And it's interesting that people talk, and I'm talking about one of the misconceptions. I'm going to add to something that my brother Imam said. They seem to think that Muslims have an agenda to do 1 or 2 things, to kill all non-Muslims, which is crazy, and number 2, to convert everybody. But yet, in our religion, in the book itself, in the Quran, it talks about the Muslims, it's permissible to marry the people of the book, so that they're Muslim men who have Christian and Jewish wives. And they're not required to accept the religion of Islam. And so what I'm going to do Sunday is show the similarities, tremendous similarities between the Christians, the Muslims, and the Jews. And I'll give you one example from one of the prophetic traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. He said, my similarity with the prophets that came before me was a man who built a building. And the building is perfectly put together and everything is in its place, but only one brick is missing. And I am that brick. That this religion of Islam is not new. It's not something that just came about a few centuries ago, but actually from the very, very beginning, the religion of Islam. So I want to show the similarities between the Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims, and show that linkage with Prophet Abraham. So that's one of the things that we're going to be trying to dispel, this idea that these Muslims are some strange and some crazy folks.
In terms of similarities, Muslims cannot be a Muslim unless and until they believe on Jesus, peace be upon him, and on the Moses, and also the Jacob, so on and so forth. All the list of prophets who came for the guidance of the humanity. So a Muslim could not be a Muslim unless and until he believes on Jesus, Moses, Abraham, all those prophets. So, any more questions? Yeah.
Actually, there's a mosque being built for supposed to be built in Sheepshead Bay. It was approved by Department of Buildings, but now it's being reviewed again. You guys have any concerns about that? The community there was saying that you might have it there.
Yeah, he will update you on that.
Yes, we actually just got that report, and of course the opposition to the Sheepshead Bay Islamic Center being built. Outside forces, and by that I mean forces outside of Sheepshead Bay, had attempted and have been linking Park 51 with the Sheepshead Bay Center. This is one of about 3 different instances over the past few months. The other being in Staten Island, when the Muslims endeavored to purchase an abandoned convent. The convent's been closed 7 years, sitting in an empty building. As soon as the Muslims start negotiating with the archdiocese to purchase the building, all of a sudden, again, outside forces come in, making an issue. Archdiocese backs out of the situation. So specifically with regards to Sheepshead Bay, yes, we of the Majlis As-Shura, we intend to monitor that situation because we're very concerned about it. You know, this is another example of bigotry poisoning the air. We want to know, why were the permits revoked after they had been granted? Is this Islamophobia, this bigotry now affecting people in public positions, where they're starting to make decisions, based upon this type of thing? And then what would be the basis for that opposition? We know what the basis is in Park 51. And here we are in Brooklyn, far away from ground zero, yet it's still, there are those who are opposing the opening of that particular Islamic center.
How do you get people to overcome their fear of walking into a mosque?
Do you repeat the question?
You can handle the fear
How
of the
do
people.
you get people to overcome their fear or trepidation walking into a mosque?
Again, mosque is a place of worship, and just like in Islam, it teaches us to respect all places of worship. In fact, and so again, it's a matter of educating people. Allah says in the Quran that we have to respect the mosques, we have to respect the churches, the synagogues, and the mosques where God's name is remembered. So again, we would, again, let people know that there should be no fear. You should approach a mosque and inquire about Islam, or to get your questions answered from the leadership or of the mosque. Again, mosques are not a place to be afraid of. They're like any place of worship. You can come in. There's just certain procedures, and I would just request people when they enter a mosque, just always ask, one of